You will call me Commander.
Yo, Joe, how we all doing today? Now, it's no surprise that I loved G.I. Joe. There was nothing I wanted more than one of those figurines. But there was one character I particularly loved, and no, it wasn't Duke. I love Snake Eyes, but I'm not talking about him either. You know that phase when you're tired of rooting for the good guys? Yep, I was going through something like that because I couldn't get enough of Cobra Commander. I mean, come on, the guy ran a snake-themed terrorist organization with some very cool vehicles and almost a whole army. He just went around spreading chaos with his chrome masks. Interestingly enough, the character was created by Marvel Characters writer and editor Larry Hama in 1982 as this narcissistic, in love with the sound of his own voice leader, modeled after William F. Buckley Jr. But what makes this character special is that after his original creation, with every new version, Cobra Commander took on new life. So who is Cobra Commander? And I know that sounds like an existential crisis waiting to happen, but that's the thing about Cobra Commander. He's kind of a man shrouded in mystery. There's no one origin story. In some versions, he's a used car salesman who lost everything, and in others, he's a corporate tech billionaire. Now, you guys might not be familiar with all of his origins, well, because there are many, unless you're some G.I. Joe fanatic, in which case, welcome to the club, guys. But the rest of you, don't worry, because we'll be exploring all the origins of Cobra Commander. Be prepared to be shocked and surprised, and in awe by the end of this video. Cobra Commander origin in Marvel Comics. Alright guys, so let's start with what many fans consider the definitive origin of Cobra Commander. And now, if you disagree, go all out in the comments, guys. We want to hear you debate. But right now, let's talk about his origins in G.I. Joe, a real American hero. There isn't much known about his original name or even his childhood, but what we do know is that he used to be a used car salesman. He was your everyday American citizen trying to earn a decent living while his older brother fought in the Vietnam War. This was the story of most people back then, and I actually really like that because it makes us think that Cobra Commander could be anyone, you know? His older brother Dan actually volunteered repeatedly to save him from getting conscripted, but when Dan returned from Vietnam, everything changed. Of course, imagine what war does to a person. His tours had left him broken, empty, and suffering from deep psychological trauma in silence. He started becoming erratic and impulsive and engaged in self-destructive behaviors by basically becoming an alcoholic, all your classic signs of PTSD or trauma, until one day it ultimately led to his tragic demise. He ended up in a car accident with another family. Naturally, this shattered the life of, well, since we don't know his real name, let's just call him Cobra Commander. He was angry and would do anything for revenge. Of course, life did go on, and he got married and even had a kid, but he always held on to that anger, and finally he did something about it. You see, in that car crash there was another family involved, the family of another veteran. That veteran too lost his parents and his sister, but with no one else to blame, Cobra Commander decided to get revenge from this veteran. What's his name, you ask? Well, he needs no introduction whatsoever because it's none other than Snake Eyes. So Cobra Commander tracked Snake Eyes to Japan where he was traveling with the Arashikage ninja clan. He even hired the mercenary Firefly to assassinate him, but Firefly instead directed him to Zartan to do the job. Now, as you can imagine, nothing goes right for our commander as Zartan kills the wrong person. He kills the Hardmaster, which basically triggers a whole feud with the Arashikage ninja clan, and also leads to the origins of Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes and their brotherly rivalry. But guys, the story doesn't end there. When he's back from Japan, his wife finds out about his misdeeds and is prepared to tell on him to the authorities. So what does he do? He runs away with his son Billy. Then, on the road, began a whole string of con jobs, illicit scams, and pyramid schemes to somehow scrape by. And naturally, he blamed the US system. The system that had failed him and had basically taken everything from him. So he began his journey of finding other like-minded people who were sick of the American social system and would love to topple the big businesses and the US government. And that's how the Cobra movement began. It literally started out like some motivational movement and then turned into a cult, and then of course a terrorist organization. I really liked how this entire origin actually parallels how extremist groups are formed in real life. They portray a very realistic picture of how people get radicalized. Cobra Commander himself originated from the failures of the system and then realized that angry people like him are easy to organize, radicalize, and manipulate. Just give them a common enemy and watch them dance, you know? Wait guys, there's more. Remember Billy, his son? In issue 55 of the comics, we get yet another glimpse into his backstory and past. You see, when Cobra Commander took Billy and ran, he didn't actually do it out of love or anything. In fact, he was a pretty cruel father. He basically imprisoned Billy and even subjected him to Dr. Venom's brainwave scanner. He made his son's entire existence a nightmare and single-handedly pushed him towards the anti-Cobra resistance. And guess what? We only find out all of this because, as it turns out, Billy ended